Hello and welcome to this video. In this video we'll use Circuitlab.com to create and do a DC simulation of a simple circuit. So if you just go to Circuitlab.com without creating an account or anything, you can launch the Circuitlab editor, which I'm doing right now, or you can create an account and do all sorts of useful things like save your circuits and stuff like that. So the circuit that I've designed is kind of arbitrary. It has a voltage source with a voltage of 6 volts, and you get that handy window or dialog to come up by just double clicking on the element that you've just placed. I place elements by just grabbing them and dragging them over to where I want them to be, so I'll add a resistor, and R1 will have be 2k ohms. Grab another resistor. R2 will be 4k ohms. R3 will be 3k ohms. And R4 will be 1k ohm. And to this we'll add a current source because it's a lot more fun with a current source. And we'll rotate this counterclockwise. Maybe center it a little bit, or we'll have it be a 1 milliamp current source. Now to connect the elements, we just go up and grab the end of one circuit element and start dragging wires around. And it makes the connections exactly where you would expect them to be. This is really a handy circuit editor. Okay, so there's our circuit, and we're all excited. We've got it put together. Let's simulate it. You can see there's a warning. So a warning comes up, and it generally doesn't stick around long enough for me to read it, and it's basically saying two things. The first is that we don't have any named nodes, and the second is that we can't run the simulation without a ground. So let's go back and take care of the second problem first. Let's add a ground. We'll put it on the bottom node because that's the way we always do these things. And now let's go back and simulate it. It says again that there's no named nodes found. We'll come back to that in just a minute. So now we run the DC solver, and it says that it's done an operating point solve in 0.02 seconds, which is quite a bit faster than I can do nodal analysis. One way to find out what the node voltages in the circuit are, as well as to find current through the resistors, is just to now take our cursor and place it over nodes. And then if you look at the very bottom right-hand corner of the screen, you can see that the voltage at that point is 6 volts, and the current going into R1 is 1.667 milliamps. If we look up here, the voltage at this point is 6 volts. The current going into R3 is 1.25 milliamps. So the voltage at this node is 2.25 volts, and the current going through R4 is 2.25 milliamps. So you can see that this alone is quite useful. I can make it more user-friendly by adding node names. So I go back to Build, grab a node name, and we will call this Node 1, Node 2, and Node 3. And so now we hit Simulate again, run the DC solver. So now if I click on Node 1, Node 2, and Node 3, you can see up here in the upper left that it tells me the voltage at Node 1 is 6 volts, the voltage at node 2 is 2.667 volts, and the voltage at node 3 is 2.25 volts. Remember, the biggest issue most people face when they're first starting this is they forget to put a ground node in. So I hope you found this video to be helpful. Thanks for watching.